Hello, welcome to Now Tell Us. This is a place where people come and tell us stories. They come and educate us, they come and inspire us. And always, we are having great guests like today. We have a great guest with us who is going to tell us how to get your story heard. Now, I know each and every one of us has a story, so it's an opportunity to know how to go about it to make your story heard out there. And what's the importance of it after all? Now, at this point, I want to thank each and every person who's been watching us, those who've been commenting, giving us feedback, and those who've been sharing our stories, our episodes with all your friends. I thank you very much. It's such a great thing to know that you're being heard. And so, at this point, let me welcome to the show our guest who is known as Jackie Wilson. Hello,
Hi.
Jackie.
Hi.
Am I being heard?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you very good, very much, and I can also hear you. And we are here to get to know how our story is got to be heard. Not only our voice, but our story. So
Yeah.
we are honored to have you here. But before we dive into that, we would like to know who is Jackie? Where is she from? What does she do?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Wow. That is a question that we can fill much space with, but who I am is somebody who is passionate about people being the best versions of themselves
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that our happiness is tied to actually the stories that we have experienced in our lives, and ultimately those stories are tied to the purpose that we have in this world.
Hmm. Beautiful. And where are you from?
Originally, I am from a small town of Columbus, Mississippi, and currently I reside in Nashville, Tennessee, here in the US.
Hmm. And is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Mississippi, and like I said, in a small town. My mother has seven children, so I grew up in a large family. And then my mom had several siblings, and my grandmother had several siblings. So I have a very deep connection to family, just a huge family background. And so who I am today has definitely been shaped by the way I grew up. My family was big on education and make sure that all of us had the opportunity to be educated and just really saw our potential. And so as I think about that, it's the same things that they poured into me, I try to pour into other people.
Yeah, family is very important, and it's good when you're born into a loving, caring family. What number are you?
I am number two out of the seven.
Whoa, wonderful. So you've got so much experience that you shared with the young ones as they are growing up too.
Yeah, we're very close in age. So
Mhm.
so I mean we had a lot of great adventures together. I will say that.
Yeah, adventures. We will be glad to hear some of them because we are here for you to tell us a few of the adventures you had as you were growing up.
I don't know if my siblings would like that, but but I am just happy to talk about the things that my mother and my grandmother just really emphasized in our life. Of course, God, church, that was a big part of our life. And again,
Mhm,
the educational part, and just
mhm,
understanding that no matter what other people say about you, it's
mhm,
what you truly believe about yourself that matters.
mhm,
And so you got to look at yourself and say, hey, what do I have to offer the world? And oftentimes people try to run away from the bad experiences they've had in life. All of us have had, some type of traumatic experience, things that just didn't go the way that we had hoped it would go or the way society says it should go. But
mhm,
instead of running away from those things, that is, we really should take the opportunity to embrace those things, because those things shape who we are. They tell us who we are. I've often found out that during the hardest times of our lives, that's really when we discover who we are as a person.
Mm,
And as a result, we have to decide what the narrative is going to be. How are we going to tell this story? And how are we going to utilize it to help somebody else? And so, as we get into my title of the Get Heard Coach and helping people understand that they have a message within their story, we really need to focus on, okay, what was the purpose of this? We don't go through things without there being a purpose to it.
mm-hmm,
And you just have to figure out what the purpose was of it. Was it just for you to learn something? Not just for you, but as the Bible tells us, we go through these hardships so that we can help somebody else.
mm,
And that's really growing up, and growing up, and especially in the South. There are a lot of hardships there. A lot of times people doubted what you could be, or they place labels on you, or they try to limit you. But so
mm-hmm,
many times I look back over my childhood and look at how my family fought so that we could have better opportunities and go out and change the world for better. And I look at my siblings, it's seven of us, and all of us have some type of degree. Some of us have multiple degrees. And that's just a blessing to be able to have that opportunity, but it's what was put inside of us. And so you have to pull from those positive experiences. When people say, I see something in you, take
mm,
that and run with it. And
mm-hmm,
don't try to bottle up the experience and just get rid of it because it made you feel bad. Think about what it is that you can do to help other people. I've heard stories like, doctors say one of my family members went through cancer, and at the time
mm-hmm,
there was no cure, but I was determined that there would be a cure. And that's how they jumped into the medical field. All of
mm-hmm.
us have those things that ignite us. And so the question is, how is your story igniting you? And then what messages can you draw from that so that you can help other people?
That's beautiful. And I like the fact that you actually chose what to say, not necessarily what was asked of you. And that is what should be with us. I mean, you have a choice of what to say. And looking back, draw the good things that happened in your life. And as Jackie says, I take these to be what we usually say: take your mess and make it into a message. So the bad
Yeah,
things that happened in your life, you don't have to run away from them. You can take them and transform them and bring them out in a way that is going to be helpful to uh, other people who are listening to you, those who are watching you. And by the way, even though you don't say anything, people are watching you and what you
yeah.
do, and you are a story being read. So let's go ahead. What inspired you? At what point did you think, oh, I can be a force in the world? Because you are right now a big force in the world. At what point did you decide that, or did that idea come to you?
I think really me wanting to help people started when I was a teenager. I
Mm-hmm,
saw so much injustice, and I was like, I need to do something about this. Of course, you're a teenager, you don't know exactly how to do it. But my first thought was, I'm going to law school and I'm going to help the people who cannot help themselves. And so I actually did that. But then I transitioned from law because I kept seeing just a cycle of the same behavior, cycle of the same attitudes. And I realized, I said, there has to be more that we can do, because I'm seeing children who are growing up in poor families. And when I mean poor, I'm talking not about financial, because I grew up in where we had financial difficulties. What I'm talking about is not having the guidance that they needed. And then
mm-hmm,
I saw those same children, or I looked at situations, and I looked at adults who were finding themselves in like the criminal system and child support court, just not places that people should have to be. And I said, okay, something else is going on here. And then that's when God brought to mind the concept of Christian children's empowerment. And
Mm-hmm.
so that started my alternative journey. And I tell people that was the best decision I ever made. And so I started working in Christian children's empowerment. And like I said, there was so much poured into me. Despite all the hardships that we had growing up, there was a lot poured into me because other people could see the potential in me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to give other children, no matter where they were in the world, that opportunity. And then, so that was my way of trying to solve a problem. Of course, the problem is huge, and we continue our efforts in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you mentioned to me before the show started, you're from Kenya. During
Yeah.
my time, the ministry work that I was doing, I was connected with a couple of different groups in Nakuru, Kenya.
Mm.
And in that particular area that we were working with the children, those children did not have opportunity to go to school because they could not pay the school fees. And
Mm-hmm.
so on the weekend, those groups would get together and they would provide tutoring classes for the kids. And then, of course, let them play soccer or football, as other people say.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked us to step in because of just the messages that we were putting out there. And we were really encouraging the kids, hey, share your stories, share your message. What's going on inside of you? How are you feeling about that? And
Mm-hmm.
so, as we worked with those kids in Nakuru, Kenya, something amazing was happening. We were pouring into the kids, but the kids were taking it back to the surrounding villages. And I'll never forget what this little boy Brian said. He said, CCE is not only helping us, but it's helping the whole village.
Mm-hmm.
And their goal was, as they taught these kids, that, hey, we're going to teach them English so they can get jobs in the hospitality, just give them opportunity, even though they didn't have the same opportunities. And so that's where our role really came in. So we were helping them learn English by allowing them to write for our children's magazine.
Mm-hmm.
But that sparked something in me. And I was like, oh, wow, we got to do more. We can't just stop here. And so they were the inspiration for what we're building online now called Empowerment University for Children. Now that was
Mm-hmm.
some years back, and we're just now really getting into the building process of that school, and that's where we'll have free and paid classes. But that's that was my way of hearing their needs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would encourage people around you, there is somebody around you that needs you. And you may think that what you do is very small, because that's what I was thinking. Oh, I'm just helping them by allowing them to write for a children's magazine. But it
Mm-hmm.
can turn into something so much bigger. And now I said, I inspired them. They went and inspired other people in the village. They inspired me again. And now I'm building an online school that's going to be able to affect children around the world. So that is part of the process of getting heard, is hearing what people need and understanding that they need to hear something from you. Another thing that I got into is podcasting. So I have a podcast called CWS, Christian Writing and Speaking. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is about hearing people's needs. I never planned on being a podcaster. I actually started because I had some friends say, I'm trying to connect with certain authors. And in my mind, I was thinking, why is that so hard? I know a lot of authors, but they didn't have the same connections I did. So as a side project, I just started interviewing some of the people I knew. And then
Mm-hmm.
before I knew it, there was an opportunity to become a full-time podcaster with a radio station, and I signed contracts, and then and I was off. But again, this is about hearing people's needs, and ultimately, and dealing with that entity and dealing with those children, that led to me becoming the Get Heard coach, and just
Mm-hmm.
understanding the overall importance of us hearing other people's needs and understanding how we can fulfill those needs with our own personal stories and experiences.
Wow, that's beautiful. And there's so much in that. And that's why Dr. Mani here says, great message, Jacqui. She
Thank
appreciates
you.
the message that you're giving. And all the others who are watching and listening, we like such feedback. I mean, and even if we are doing not good, I mean, tell us so that we can improve. Now, I want to draw a few things from whatever it is that you've shared so far. Looking at you growing up and your parents pouring into you, and then you going back to look at the young ones who are growing, I want to imagine that the young ones are so important in society. Now, this is a reminder, it's not just something that is new. I mean, we should remember that the young ones are so important in society. And my mom used to tell me that a tree is easily shaped when it's young. you
Mm.
don't you don't shape a big tree, a grown tree, one that is giving fruit. It's easier to shape a young tree so that it grows into the kind of tree that you want to it to grow to. So it's such an important part of life that you focus on, that is bringing up upright children who are thinking right, children who are experiencing life and sharing it with others, so that as they grow with those principles that were passed on to you, the same principles that you're passing to the coming generation. So you're doing good. And we thank you for that. We thank you for taking that. Another thing that I have already drawn from the story that you've told us is that they inspired you, and as you were going to reach out to them, they in other words inspired you. On the other side, they inspired you. You came out inspired, and then you went back to them, and then it's a cycle. So it's something that happens. The stories that you give out there is building someone, at the same time is going to build you. So as you get your story heard, first, as you follow what Jackie has asked us to listen, make sure that you're hearing the others. And as you hear, voice out your story also. I mean, it becomes a cycle of one helping one another. So that's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, I call it the empowerment cycle.
Oh, that's good. That's, that's wonderful. Yeah, it is. It is. And it is such a wonderful thing that we are there for one another, learning from one another, building one another as we get our story heard. Go ahead. Tell us more. Now,
What else would you like to know?
now tell us. So, what's in the future? What apart from the university, the online project that you're carrying, what else is in the future, or maybe in the distance future that you're thinking? After I'm through with this project, I'm gonna go into this, or there's this thing that I am imagining, but I've never got a way to put it on paper, or a way to get someone who is going to inspire me to make it a reality. What is that?
Well, the newest venture that I'm taking on through under the Get Her coaching program is I'm actually taking a lunch into the publishing world. And
Okay.
so I am going to start helping people get their books published. It's something that I was already doing, like helping people write their books and
Mhm.
get their messages out there. But now I'm going to become a very active part of the actual publishing process. So that is the next big venture is, first finish the things that I'm doing, but then I have this opportunity to actually become a publisher to help people get their messages heard. And so that is what I am doing next.
That's beautiful. How have you published yourself? Are you an author?
I am an author. I am. And so I'm going to take everything I've learned from that experience, plus what I've learned since then, and just pour it into other people.
And what's your book or your books?
I have several books. If anybody's interested, just go look up Jacqui Wilson on Amazon.com, JCQUI
Mhm.
Wilson on Amazon.com, and you will see all of the books that I have written. And I will say there are more coming. I just got to find the time to do it.
Yeah, and you'll find the time. And it's such a beautiful thing. those things that you are doing. And once again, we have so many people enjoying this episode. Thank you, Mishka, for the feedback that you are enjoying this episode. We
Thank
appreciate that.
you.
Yes, and we thank Jacqui for taking our time and coming and inspiring us, starting up into telling us our own story. So, apart from just and there's a way maybe we did not dive into, but then now we are hearing a way of voicing your story, which is in books. And in what other ways do you get the people to tell their story? Apart from now, this you've brought a book, but maybe it's just talking with the or yeah. I'm going. I don't know where. Tell us now. Tell us.
I mean, there are so many ways that
Yeah.
you can share your story and your message. Of course, you can become a speaker. But if you even look at most businesses, there's a reason that business started, and it's
Mhm,
part of their story. And it may be because someone could not find the product that they needed. I have a friend of mine who wanted t-shirts to say a certain thing, but she could not find t-shirts that represented her. And at the
mhm,
time, she was a teacher, and so what she did was she said, I'm just going to get a couple of t-shirts and then put my own messages on it. Now her business is a multi-million dollar business. She left the education world, and
mhm,
now she is helping other women go on to do the great things that they desire to do. So our messages are often heard just by the things that we are doing. If you love volunteering, and whatever that volunteer work may be, somebody may ask you, "Why did you volunteer?" And it could be such a simple explanation. It could be, "I remember when my grandmother did this, and it reminded me of what she did." That is a message. That is a story. I tell people my grandmother passed last year, but there are so many things that I just remember that just made her stand out as a person. I remember her often when she saw people walking down the street. She would always give them like a banana, a piece of fruit.
mhm,
And I kept saying, why would she do that? And I mean, and today I still love that fruit, that those bananas, and but it's also it's not just because of how it tastes, but it's associated with that memory.
mhm,
If she saw somebody in need, she always tried to give them a piece of fruit as they were walking down the street. Something
mhm,
so small, and it may seem insignificant, but you don't know what you do for people's day. Just acknowledging who a person is and just saying, I see you, I hear you. Let me step in and bless you in the way that I can. We don't
mhm,
have to do grand gestures. We don't. It may
mhm,
be just a phone call. Somebody needs somebody to sit and listen. I just did an interview with someone, and they were saying they remember when their friend called, and at that time that friend was contemplating suicide. You don't know how your actions, your story, just hearing people will impact someone's life. So I mean, that's the more. I mean, it is so much, but like I said, it's just years of just pouring in, seeing these examples in my life that has just blessed me to be who I am today.
yeah, it's such a blessing. I mean, that's why we say that it's more blessed to give than receive. And actually, that's the Bible that talks about giving, being blessed by giving more than receiving. So we agree to that. I mean, we accept what it is that you say, that you feel blessed when you've done anything that you've done and inspired people, and also heard the people. That's you give them your time and you listen to their stories. That's giving still. And so
Yeah.
when we say to you, the viewer, to you, the listener, when you say we said do what you do, and a message is being spread out there. I was right. I'm glad I was right. Okay, so we keep going, and we would love many of us who are watching you that have been encouraged by this episode would like to connect with you. I'm sure of that. So how can they reach you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, I would say just on getting your stories heard, definitely connect with me at the getheardcoach.com. The
Mm-hmm.
getheardcoach.com. Connect with me there. And then if you want to connect further in the other ventures that I have, I'm happy to speak with you about those as well.
Okay, so that's www.the the
Heardcoach.com.
gethardcoach.com.
Yep.
We are going to share that link for anyone that finds it hard to read. So that you just go direct and connect with Jacqui and learn how you can get your story heard. The different ways you had that. Do you train public speakers? Is that something that you do?
Yeah, we can go through training. Is
Hmm.
I try to meet you where your need is.
Okay.
So I'm listening to you. So
Hmm.
that's a part of what I do. I listen to you, what it
Yeah.
is you truly want to do, and then
Hmm.
I help design a package to get you heard.
Okay, and that could be designing for you t-shirts, maybe creating for you banners, or maybe just putting some wordings in front of your door to remind everyone passing by there that this is who I am, this is what I do, or this is what you need to be out there in the world. Let the people
Yeah.
know where you stand, what you stand for, and what your principles are.
Yeah, because we
So,
want to put more out there, more good out there. And I do offer private coaching and workshops as well. So if
mhm.
you're shy and you don't want to do the one-on-one, you can come to one of the group workshops that I have. And people can find even more information about that at gether.teachable.com. Gether.teachable.com. And that's still connected to my site, the gethercoach.com. But if you want a direct link to the coaching packages or to know more about the workshops, go to getheard.teachable.com.
That's beautiful. We really appreciate. So, this has been a wonderful day and a wonderful episode. Thanks to Jacqui, and thanks also to each and every one of you who is watching, those who are listening,
Yeah.
and also those who will get to listen to us after we are through with this episode or watch us. We appreciate you for taking your time and hearing us. So we want to also hear your voice. Let's know what's your stand on this that we are discussing here. Send a message and your story will be heard. Like we are hearing the stories of Mishka, Dr. Mani, and others who are a bit quiet at the background, the introverts. So that's just about it for today. And but before we go, we always ask our guest to leave us with a few words that we should always remember. This is your time, Jacqui.
My word to you is you matter. You absolutely matter. You have purpose. Let the world see your purpose.
That's a beautiful message. I can't add anything there. Complete in its own. And so that's it. We've come to the end of today's episode. And once again, we appreciate every one of you, but more so, we appreciate Jacqui. And we are hearing some voice in the background. Someone is waiting for you to go and get so, so I've been your host, Anthony Morore, and together with Jacqui Wilson, for today, we are saying bye. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.